Now the other thing too that comes up is people think they have to read everything that comes into their lives. Okay? All these services are a river of data that's flowing by your doorway. And you dip your toe in when you have time, you answer your mentions, you reply to people who are interacting with you directly, and when you're not there, it flows by and you do not care. When you'll jump back in, there'll be something new to talk about. I have people, they start reading RSS feeds and think, I gotta read every one of these, oh my God, this is, and they stress out. It's like, no, just mark all read and move on. You know? So don't let that strike you. It's not.
It's managing you, not managing.
Yes, it is. Totally managing.
It's managing you, not the technology, right? Again, it's that bright, shiny object syndrome.
It's a telephone ringing syndrome. The telephone ring, I gotta pick it up.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You know, just let it go. That's right. Let it flow on by.
I agree.
You know, we've talked about using social media to build relationships, but I have a question for all of you. If in business, building strong binding personal relationships is said to be 90 to 95% of the secret to growing a successful company or organization, how personal can you really be with social media? And I'm referring to the good old-fashioned handshake.
Personal, I mean,
Oh, really personal in terms of building the kind of relationship, and you mentioned it earlier, a trust-building relationship, so that you can take that relationship from a casual conversation to marketable, sustainability, and bottom line, getting paid.
I have a friend right now who's touring Paris and France and the UK, and staying with people who aren't just people they met online. They're friends of friends they met online. Okay, we like to believe the face-to-face relationship is intimate. It's the most intimate relationship you could have. I think we're seeing that there are other levels. There always have been other levels there. Whether it's pen pals or letter writing through famous people who wrote letters back and forth, Rilke and other people like this. There are deep relationships that can be formed online. If you've ever seen a tight-knit group, a tight-knit online group go through a mourning process, you will, I don't think you'll ever think that it can't be a deep relationship again. The fact is, you've gone through highs and lows. You really have developed this bond, even though you may never have met face-to-face. Granted, if there's an opportunity for them to be face-to-face, they will take it in an instant.
Oh, yeah.
But even without that, and because we are in a global society these days, there are some very deep relationships that get made online.
So you're asking how personal of content should we be posting? Well, it's a very good question. That's all part of the personal brand, right? It's everything that you represent, anything that's important to you, your passions, your interests, your likes, and so forth. You know, it's not about taking all the skeletons out of the closet and putting it up there. Okay, I'm always about being very savvy about who you are with your brand. I can't help it. It's how I, built entertainment when I was putting on traditional media and teaching my, entertainers how to build their fan base through traditional media. You've got to be authentic, but you also need to be very selective, I think, with what you're posting. Now, that doesn't mean hide out, and I agree on some level with Susan about, you want to be as authentic as you can, and if you want to scream and yell on Facebook, then go ahead. I'm not so sure I agree totally with that, but it's about your persona that you are presenting to your publics, which is hopefully your potential clients, right? I mean, I'm seeing this happening all the time, not only with me, but with friends. I get a message. I got a message today on Facebook. There's a gal that we've been connecting back and forth for about 3 or 4 months. She's an image consultant, right? She ends up emailing me messaging me on Facebook. She says, guess what? She says, I am now the editor of this 1,300 person image consultant association. I would love for you to write an article on personal branding because of it being of interest. Now, to me, she says, I love all your posts because they're always so uplifting, right? That's just my brand. It may not be yours, but that's mine. That got me the interest to now be exposed to potentially 1,300 people in her community. So I'm choosing to have a certain type of brand. You choose what's going to be most authentic to you, and don't expose so much.
It's good.
I mean, there's certain things I take to there's still certain things in your life you take to email. With that 3-person group, that I don't think needs to be discussed with the world. It's more, it's such a personal topic that it directly affects the people that I involve in the conversation.
Absolutely.
So there will always be that, and there should be that. That's the line you draw.
As Marla said, it's about making choices. As much as I am personal in what I communicate, there are certain things I will not communicate. I will not talk publicly about my husband, good or bad, what's going on with him.
Right.
I won't talk about certain family members. You make choices about what you will share and what you will not share. Again, it's about being proactive and being definitive in managing your life, managing your online life. And so you draw a line and you stick to that line, and you also make choices about what you want to present, the brand you want to present. I'm kind of like Marla. I like to accentuate the positive, because there's enough negative out there, streaming up there. Nobody needs it. I'd rather accentuate the positive and give something of value. And so that's what I choose to do.
Before I want to do the Q&A, but did you?
I was just going to say that in the business world in particular, one of the things we've seen explode with social media is that your potential clients and customers, they do want to get to know you. So they don't want it to all be about your business. What I see a lot of the solopreneurs that I really love, what they're doing out there, it's sort of a mix for them. They'll do a lot of unique value in terms of their business, but then they'll also maybe throw up a concert that they went to and what they thought about it, or some great Groupon that they bought or whatever. I mean, it's like those little snippets of letting people in and kind of sharing that collective experience with. And we see this happening a lot on celebrity feeds. Where the celebrities are, because they're brands, and they're sharing maybe about the movie that they have upcoming, but they're also talking about, where they're going for vacation and stuff. So I think it is like you can definitely protect the things that are off limits, and you have to decide what that is for everybody. But you can also, letting people in, if you're building a business, letting them get to know you a little bit is going to help in terms of, like Marla says, the like and trust factor. Or if you're a job seeker too, I mean, people who have businesses who are hiring people, I mean, they're not, they always say in an interview, it's what happens between the lines, between the answers that gets people hired, not the answers they give to those stock questions. So they want to know if you play tennis. They want to know that you have, a world beyond your desk.
Right.
Well, I talk about balance in your feeds.
Yeah.
I talk about that all the time. There's a few blog posts. There's a few things you shared that you like. There's a few things about you. There's hey guys, I'm going to be at this panel on social media in your career tonight. Maybe you should come out and check it out. But balance in all cases. Nothing is more boring than a Twitter feed that sends the same message over and over and over. You want to get unfollowed by me? That's one way to do it really quickly. It's just like, thank you.
Well, I think what you're talking about is humanizing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We want to open up some question and answer, so we'll just raise a hand and I'll point. Does anybody have any questions? And speak up. I don't have a mic to go around, but it's not such a large group. Yeah.
Colton, excuse me, perhaps that mic that they provided, if you could have people come to the mic.
I don't think
the cable's
No.
short on
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty short.
Oh, it's a short cable. Okay.
So,
Shout it out. Sing out, Louise.
Great panel, by the way. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful. I just wanted to ask you guys, I have, in Facebook, I now have about 1,200 friends, and I'm really excited about it. How can I transfer my Facebook profile friends to my fan page, create a fan page?
You have
Is
to.
it possible to
You have to
do that?
ask them. No, there isn't a bulk widget. You have to ask them to.
Well, it's
like you
invite,
or whatever.
unless it's
Suggested
changed, but it's
friends.
invite your friend. There's and on the unless it's changed again on the right side it says invite friends, and you click on that, and this is where the strategy comes in as far as the right people.
Yes.
When you brought in the right people to your friend community, now you're going to have the same audience on your fan page, which is what you want. So it's an actual tool on the fan page to invite your friends over, and Facebook will send them an email that says you're invited to join this fan page.
And is it also the opportunity to say, hey, maybe I don't want that friend to come over?
Yes.
There may be some people you don't invite.
Yes.
Yes.
You hand select, because a pop-up box will come with all your friends, and you hand select who you want to invite.
Who you think is going to receive your message? If it's a business, or who you think would be your potential client,
you can
or
also,
might know your potential client.
You can also like your fan page yourself, of course, and then from the fan page do a share to your page. I did that several times with my As the Girl Turns page, and just said, hey, got a page. See, I'm out here.
And for those of you getting started, one of the ways around this problem that she's facing is to, if you have a public-facing entity when you start up with your Facebook, set that up first. You may differ in this. I prefer to keep my friends as my closer people I've known, people I'm at least acquainted with. Yeah. For each of my, like for New Media Interchange, for my blog, for Career Camp, that's a public-facing entity. And by setting the page up there first, then I don't fall into that issue where, maybe there's people who are my friends that maybe really shouldn't be in that group. They should be on a page. And so if you set it up early, you can kind of avoid that problem too.
And when you're making that, I'm sorry, can I ask another question? When you're making that transition, you've created a fan page. When you post, for example, some tips and tricks on your main post, do you put the tips and tricks on your fan page too, or do you just abandon tips and tricks on your profile and just go?
No, I put them in both places.
Yes,
put
them in both.
Because you'd be amazed at the response you get from both places.
Well, it's all about exposure. First of all, not everyone sees every post you do.
Right.
So the more, I'm of the belief it's about visibility, right? And how many times have you seen offline, Apple or Coca-Cola, whatever, and they're consistently out there. Everyone's not going to see every post, so stagger it. So let's say you have something on your personal page and you say, oh, this is totally appropriate for my fan page too.
Exactly.
You'll wait 2 hours and go post it on your fan page. Absolutely.
Well, you only really have to post it once. If you post it on your personal profile, you can use the share button to push it over there. The only thing that really doesn't work for it, I find myself uploading photos and media items. I do put right on the page because I want them sitting in that photo hopper or that video hopper for the page. But if it's a link to an interesting site or something, I will post it in my wall, and then they're using the share button, and they'll share that over to that page. Yeah, it just saves a little bit of time.
Colton, we have a question right here.
Yeah, I actually have two also, but one of them is kind of tied to what you've already been saying. You had mentioned if you need a job, post, I need a job. But then you also said, it goes by, not everyone sees that post. And just like if you're posting on Craigslist or somewhere, you have to keep putting it there so you'll be at the top. Yet you also just said don't keep putting the same thing out there because it's boring. So how do you get everybody that you're friends with to see you need a job unless you keep posting it every day if you don't want to be doing that?
Think how often you would want to see something. That's my general rule. Think how often you would want to see something in your feed. You're going to probably, if you're looking for a job, that may be something you're going to need to put out there every so often.
Here's my answer to that. Because I'm all into, I can't help, I'm a writer, I'm also creative. You know what, there's many different ways for you to post the same message.
Yeah.
You can be creative with, geez, I really enjoyed blah, blah, blah when I did this job, and man, I'd love to find another one just like it. So it's you being creative with what you're writing. Even though it's still looking for a job, you're really just putting your thoughts down that resemble, oh, she's looking for a job. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. Okay, and
you can also send a message. You can send a Facebook message to all of your friends, or in certain segmented lists.
Guaranteed to see.
To do that, and then the other thing, what's going to drive the algorithm is comments, not likes. Comments. So the more comments you get on a particular post, that's going to drive it to the top of whoever is friends with you. It's going to drive it to the top of their feed. And then the more they interact with you, it's going to drive it to the top of their feed too. So if you're out there interacting with your friends a lot, your posts, whatever you're posting, is going to show up on their feed more often than if you're not interacting with them. Number one.
The more comments you get, the higher.
Yes, and the more comments.
Get to the top.
Yes, comments are what drive the algorithm. So I'm not saying you can go out and ask people to comment on it, but if you, with what Marla was saying, if you do it in a creative way, it's more likely to invite commenting.
If someone comments on
And
that actually turns me off, because if I see someone have 100 comments, it's like, I don't even want to start reading them. It'll take me 20
But that's what's going to drive you get placed higher in everyone's feed that you're friends with, the more comments you have, and the more interaction you have with those people.
Yeah.
And it also keeps recycling up every time somebody new comments. You know, so you could have had this conversation a week ago, and if people are still commenting on it, it keeps going in the top
That's why you'll
feed.
see that sometimes you'll get comments on a post you put up 10 days ago. If it has 50 comments, that's why, because people are still seeing it in their feed.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't have any comments, it goes off the feed.
Yeah.
So it just reiterating what she was saying is, if the more creative you are with the posting, the more you're going to invite conversation about it.
Right.
So then you'll be on more people's pages, more opportunities. But I would also do the Facebook messaging too, because that's an easy way to get the word.
Pose question, with a few, not everyone, but make sure you ask questions, because that's going to also initiate comments.
Well, I want to piggyback to kind of what she was asking, Nathan. How important is it to then comment on other people's stuff? Because she says, like, there's 50 things on there. I really don't want to get in on that, but is it part of my strategy to at least every once in a while get in on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called comment marketing, and
Yeah.
I think.
Especially commenting on other people's blogs.
Yeah.
But I
Because-
think, again, you do it authentically. Like,
Yes,
you don't,
please
you
post
don't want
if
to
you
just
have
go
something
out
to say.
to comment just so you're driving your algorithms and all that. You want to do it on the things that really authentically speak to you. I mean,
Posting the word cool.
Yeah.
No. Don't do that.
Tell
Tell me why it's
Cool
cool.
period.
Tell me why it's cool. And actually, that's a good thing too. Remember, people are reading what you're putting out there because they want to know your take on something. I post quite a few links because I read a lot and I'm running across interesting stuff all the time. And I always I really try to do this on every link I post, of why I found this interesting, why you might find this interesting. Because my readers want to know what I feel about something. They can find out about that something through a bunch of different avenues, but they also want to hear what I think about it. And they want to hear what you think about something you found interesting. So don't hesitate putting a few words in there. It's like, well, I thought this was cool because now I get to use it. I get to tie this in with my phone, and that never really worked before, and now I can use it that way.
And don't be afraid to, in your content, when you're posting, now you're obviously an expert in something which you're looking for a job on. You know what? Shine the light on that expertise. So that's also a way to not only call attention to you, but in a sophisticated way, so that now what's being seen is your expertise. And, by the way, I'm really excited about this job search or something like that. Yeah.
With many small businesses, I actually tell people that one of their biggest jobs via social media is to teach people how to work with them. You answer questions. Say, there was a group I worked with that was a small ad agency. It was, 200,000 person area. Okay, and answer questions. They teach businesses how to work with a small ad agency. Teach the local jewelry store how and why advertising is important to them. And guess what? When they need advertising assistance or advertising buys or help, who are they going to call? They're going to call you because you've already helped them.
Colton, we have a question over here.
I'm interested in your thoughts on the future of social media, sort of like where it's going. I think it's important to be kind of on the forefront of it versus trying to keep up with it, because there's so much new stuff that I think even somebody who I consider myself fairly social media savvy, there's stuff that I have no idea about that I read about every day. So is there anything that you guys see as exciting on the forefront of it that we should kind of be paying attention to now, so that when it's there, we're already we already sort of know what to do?
That.
I think they
the
call that trendy on
smartphone.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Mobile. We're already seeing these things occur whereby your phone is going to start letting you know more and more when you're near someone you want to talk to, when you're near a piece of information, when you're near that great restaurant. We're going to share our Yelp reviews. And if one of my Yelp friends has reviewed a restaurant up the street as being the best sushi in the planet, your phone's going to go, hey, Joe recommended this restaurant up the street and you're only a block away. Maybe you should check it out. The fact is, we carry now more power in our pockets than we had on our desktops 10 years ago. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Are phones doing that already, or is that something that's being
They're starting to do it
developed?
already.
And how does one get in on that?
Basically, Yelp is one that does this. I believe if you're in Yelp and you have friends on Yelp, if you're near a location, it will say, hey, well, I know there's actually a Groupon style thing that does it. It says, there's a deal in your area.
Yeah. That's great. It just came out.
Oh, on Groupon?
Groupon Now. And what it does is, I love Groupon.
It's an app from Groupon?
It's an app on your phone.
And is the other one an app from Yelp also?
Yeah.
To be able, so like if you're in a store and you know someone there, then it'll say, oh, your friend is nearby?
Yeah. I think we're just on the, like Foursquare will do that now.
Foursquare does that,
we're right on the cusp of that. I mean, it's just starting to happen, but definitely more and more. I'm starting to see almost a torrent of that type of stuff start to come out now. A lot of the services that were already there are saying, oh, wait a minute. I know where everybody is, and I know who's friends with who. Why don't I tell them there's a friend here? And you know, the programmers and the developers are coming around to this thought of going, I have this information. How can I leverage it?
Well, and that's why the check-in places is like I think it's brilliant, and that's exactly what that's where it's headed.
That also data input, augmented reality and stuff like that, where you'll be able to hold your phone up. And you're already seeing some of this. There's an app called Layer and some other things where you can be in the square in a foreign town, and you can hold up your phone and spin it around, and it will start to pop. Oh, there's a neat restaurant here, and someone reviewed it 5 stars.
You see that in the commercial?
You know, and that actually exists.
It's called what?
Layer, L-A-Y-A-R.
L-A-Y-A-R.
There's other ones too.
We have a question from Kyle over here.
That's right.
The new Yelp. They tried to sneak it in earlier with the 3GS phone, and they busted them on it. But I think now they can bring it back because the phone supports it. Yeah. So you can just pop it up and start waving your phone around and seeing what's around you. There are services that I've already seen that you can leave virtual messages for people. Mm-hmm. They can pop up their phone and they'll see a message from you that you left months ago that says, "Oh, you're standing in the piazza in Syracuse. Okay, turn to the north and see that little coffee bar. Go sit there because that's where I sat."
Yeah.
You know, but it's 6 months later. It's like virtual graffiti almost.
What a great way to connect with a friend.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, I mean, so geotagging. Are you using a geotagging service now, like you do Foursquare or Welch? Yeah. So those are going to get more. And you know, it wouldn't hurt to maybe just peruse the App Store one, so we could see what the top 10 are and see what people are using. Quora was supposed to be huge, but it's not turning out to be that way, Doug. Right? Like, it's a question and answer site. Quora.
It takes
Quora. It's a question marketing.
It takes too much energy right now.
Yeah, and then Google Plus is the other one that
automated
everyone's excited about.
Quora. Google Plus, and I say Google Plus is feeling interesting. I initially with services, I go by the gut feeling and the general feeling you get as you're using it. Kind of, so it feels like there's some there. Now, honestly, just today I downloaded a new app called. Oh, I've only got 10 pages. It's quiet. This is my job. This is what I do. Hip Geo, and this is another thing you're doing. You may have heard of Google Latitude. You may have heard. I think it's cool to know where I've been. And Google Latitude and now Hip Geo operates all the time in the background and tracks me everywhere I go.
Oh dear.
You can turn it off though.
And yeah, you can. Again, this is just something you make. This is a decision you make. Now, what's also interesting in Google Latitude, Susan knows where I am anytime, day or night, because I share my location with Susan and her with I. Now, as you might imagine, for close-knit groups, that could be a really cool thing. I had a friend who I arrived for dinner, and he is literally standing at the door as I pull up. I said, "How did you? Oh, you were watching me on Latitude. You saw me on the map. Whoop, 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 until I was right outside his door. You know exactly where I was." Most of the cases, I use that for myself, though. I like knowing where I've been. There's actually a service for Foursquare that sends you back where you were a year ago. And I love it. It just reminded me that we had career camp a year ago. There was something that just says, oh, that's right, that was this time of year, wasn't it? So mobile is the big thing. And you're going to find, because they now have high-quality cameras, they now have pretty much always-on connectivity, and it's something that's just ubiquitous. We carry it with us everywhere we go. This is where things are happening. And they'll tie into websites. Like I can look at my Google Latitude on the website and see where I've been and all that stuff. I can review it there. But it's this little bugger right here that makes it all possible.
We have another question right here.
Talking about branding. What would be like one of the first things that you tell people when they are trying to brand themselves or what to do?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. In fact, it's even in my email. together. It's called Step in the Spotlight with Confidence, Savvy, and Ease, your business e-guide to personal branding and a social reward economy. So the exercise is in here, and it's something as simple as literally what are some of your passions? Because what you're doing is you're really personifying yourself. It's what makes you you, right? So it's your passions, it's family, friends, anything that's important to you. And then here's one of the key questions that I love to have my clients answer, and that is, what one or two things happened in your life that was a major shift in direction for you, that actually up-leveled, changed your life, right? Because what you're looking for in content, besides every other interesting thing about you, is how you're going to connect with someone emotionally, right? And inspire somebody. So for example, I'm a breast cancer survivor, right? And I volunteered for Susan G. Cohen for 6-7 years, and board member and speaker and all that. My entire community knows that about me, right? So that becomes part of my brand, but my survivor story is what really catches their interest. And it's also inspiring to others. So you want to be able to really take a kind of an inventory about your life and just kind of start writing out, what are these things you're passionate about? What's important to you? What was that experience that changed your life? So that's a place to start. Is that helpful?
Yeah, very helpful.
Any other questions in the audience? Oh, Gerard?
Yeah, going to that question, when you come up with these, would you say you put that on a blog?
Well, all right, so now what do you do with that, right?
Yes.
That's all exactly what it is it gives you content, right? So I have my clients, I just say, you know what, keep a running list, right? Keep a running list of those topics and those passions to make conversation with. That's all you're doing, right? And then the accumulation of all of those posts over time start to form your brand. The things you like, the things that you have an opinion about.
What you stand for.
Things you find,
What you stand for.
What you stand for.
So you're saying it's more organic than
It's very
strategy
organic. It's that because it's authentic. It has to be authentic. It has to be transparent.
I think some people overthink it.
Yeah, right.
I think some people sit there and say, "Oh my God, what am I going to write about?" I have to be, And what happens is, I run into people, and I'm assuming you do too. You run into people, and getting them started is the hard part. Mm-hmm. Once you get the snowball rolling down the hill, all of a sudden it's like, "Oh my God, what's this person doing?" But getting that snowball rolling, and so I always err on the side of getting them moving, doing something, one small little thing. And because I know once they start doing it, it will develop a momentum of its own. But getting started.
And for some people, the easiest thing to do is turn on their smartphone or their camcorder and start talking to it. Mm-hmm. That's with video blogging. That's huge now.
Audioboo.com.
Right. Yeah, because people are gonna connect with you for all different reasons, right? Whether you like bike riding, mountain climbing. Whatever those passions are, photography, you're going to have somebody connect with you on that level, and now you have a connection, and who knows where that's going to go, right? So there's not going to be one certain thing.
Oh, so Gerard has
One
a
more on
follow-up
there.
question.
It's your favorite blog site hosting thing? Do you have a favorite?
I use blogger.com.
I started with Blogger.
Yeah.
I've switched over to using WordPress.
Yeah,
I still
that's a
have
good one.
2 blogs, I think, on Blogger. I haven't moved everything. I think either one is fine.
Yes.
They're both
Right.
hosted out there. They both end up with a URL that is, something.blogspot.com or
Right.
something. The fact is, again, that's one of those first mover things, just getting them going. Don't even start talking about technology with them. Say, go here. What do you want to call this blog? Okay. Wow. We're on. 5 minutes later, you've got their first post online, and the momentum has started.
Right.
So I would say definitely WordPress or Blogger.
Either or are just fine. They're very popular. Both of them. And Blogger has really upped their ante with their publishing.
That's why I left.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, thank God.
Yeah, they've really come forward.
Now it's really a very savvy way of publishing.
Well, they have to compete with WordPress.
And it's a Google product. So there are some advantages to using a Google product in this day and age.